All my clothes was on the lawn, and I just left it there, and I just left.
So when they had moved Damien to a different store, I wasn't really like fazed by it. I mean, I was, because I was excited to see him every day at work.
Little Caesars, they ended up transferring me stores because they found out me and Bianca went to the movies.
He wasn't really like my main priority. Like I was still in school, I had other dudes talking to me. So when he moved, it just didn't really, it didn't really bother me, to be honest.
Me and Bianca, we was like on and off. So it really wasn't, we would just texting here and I'd be like, hey, yo, what's good, you trying to chill? Sometimes she don't even text me back for like 3 days. I'm like, okay, F her. I was talking to Bianca from time to time, and I started talking to another girl, then another, and I was messing with like 23 girls at the time. On New Year's Day. Well, actually, it wasn't before New Year's Day. It was like Christmas break, because she still was in school. So she was like a junior. I think Bianca was like a junior that year. And she told her mom and her dad, well, she told her mom and her stepdad, well, her mom and dad, whatever. She told them that she was about to stay at her real dad's house for like 2 weeks, her whole winter break. But she lied to her parents to really stay with me. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, man, she kind of bad. I was just like, man, I might as well just go ahead and just swindle her, cuff her. And that's what I did. She stayed with me for 2 weeks. And she proved something to me, you know what I'm saying? Because we did a lot in that 2 weeks. She stayed at my house. We was getting it in, you know what I'm saying? We was doing our thing. And then I was just like, shit, Bianca the real deal. So I was just like, F this girl, F that girl. I basically cut all the girls off. Cause I didn't want them no more, cause Bianca, I was like, she bad, light skin, thick, beautiful eyes. She was about to stay at her real dad's house for like 2 weeks, her whole winter break. But she lied to her parents to really stay with me. During
that 2 weeks is when I just kind of felt like he never really asked me out. It's just kind of like, how like when you just feel that you're in a relationship with somebody, it was kind of just like that.
I was just like, man, I might as well just go ahead and just swindle her, cuff her. And that's what I did. She proved something to me. I was just like, shit, Bianca the real deal.
Now my grandma, she lived about an hour away from Fort Wayne. Like when I initially got up, I felt really lightheaded and I didn't feel good. So I text my mom like, hey mom, you know what I'm saying? I don't feel good, I'm getting lightheaded, my stomach hurts. She was like, are you pregnant? And I looked at myself and I'm just like, no, I don't think so. I don't think I'm pregnant. And she was like, Bianca, you better go get a test when you're down there. If not, you're taking a test when you come home. We rode our bikes to Dollar General. I got a pregnancy test and I came back home and I just stared at the test for the longest time. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to take it. I'm scared about the results. I was 17, I was in school, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't ready. And I remember my sister and my cousin, they stood outside of the door when I was in the bathroom taking the test. I took the first test and I waited. I didn't look at it, I just waited. And then I looked at the test and there was a plus sign. And instantly I just started crying. I don't know if I just started crying because I was nervous, if I was happy. I really didn't have emotions at the time. I just my emotions were like everywhere. And I yelled to my sister and my cousin, I was like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. What am I gonna do? I'm in school, mom's gonna kill me. I was just scared.
I got a phone call from Bianca. It was probably like around I was on break. So it was like around 11:30 a.m. I was on break. She was like, Damien. She didn't even call me. She didn't even text me. She called me. She's like, Damien. I said, what's wrong? She was at her grandma's house when she found out. She was like, I'm pregnant.
The first person I called was Damien. I called him and I was like, hey, you know what I'm saying, I'm pregnant. And he was like, oh my God, for real? I'm so excited, we're gonna get through this. You know what I'm saying? He was like, I'm happy, I wanted this, I wanted to be, I wanted you to have my first child. And he was just going on about how happy he was.
But she was like crying, but I felt like I was ready for a kid, But she was crying and stuff. I was like, it's gonna be all right. You don't even need to cry. I said, I got you.
And then I text my mom. And when I text my mom, she didn't reply for the longest time. So I'm like, okay, why is she not replying? Is she mad at me? Like, what's going on? And she texted me the worst message that any parent could text you. She said, I'm disappointed.
She was just like, I'm scared to tell my mom and this and that. I'm like, tell her. I'm gonna be here for you. I'm gonna support you.
So when I got back home, my mom was like, you're gonna tell your dad you're pregnant. And I was like, no, mom, I can't tell him. And so I told Damien, and Damien actually came over with me to tell my dad that, we was having a baby, and I didn't know how to break the news to him. I sat at the table and I just stared at him. I was like, it's something I gotta tell you. And he was like, what? And Damien knew that I couldn't tell my dad, so Damien stepped in for me, and he was like, she's pregnant. I went into the doctors and I was having like these really bad cramps. I just couldn't take the cramps. That day, I went to work. I was working at a nursing home. I was working in dietary aid, which means I just take like, the people their food or whatever. And this like stuff just came out of me. And I'm like, what is this? So I went to the bathroom, I used the bathroom, and my mucus plug came out. And I looked at it and I'm like, no, this can't be real. I text my mom like, hey mom, this stuff is coming out of me, it won't stop, what do I do? She was like, Bianca, you need to get in the car now and you need to come home. And we went to the doctor, and on the way to the hospital, I texted Damien, I called Damien, he wasn't responding. I believe he was playing basketball or something, and when I got to the hospital, they was like, you're 1 centimeter dilated and you can't leave. There's no way we can stop this labor because your water has already broken. And I'm like, I was 32 weeks pregnant, and at that point, there was nothing I could do about it. He was gonna come regardless. I was scared for my life because a baby's not full term until like 36